Good morning, team. Happy Friday morning. Happy 4th of July weekend. As you know, the markets are going to be closed on Monday. So we have an extended 3-day weekend holiday coming up, as you all know. So the expectation was we were going to have a little, end of the week rally into the long weekend. That really hasn't come to fruition as it has for the last few years. This tells you a lot about how weak this market is overall. Excuse me. Um, the beginning of the week, like I said, it was going to be, that part, the bad part played out. It's going to be a sell off, everybody getting out of their positions for the long weekend. And then I was thinking maybe Thursday, Friday, we were going to have a little rally into the weekend due to the sellers gone away. The sellers pretty much not gone away because if you see here, the volume has been going up on the downside. So we did have this follow through day. We have a confirmed follow through day. The volume was probably a little bit extra higher due to the rebalancing on the Russell. The quarter end, the Russell rebalances the IWM. So when that happens, there's a lot of extra volume that comes in. So that's probably why this extra volume in this follow through day. But it was still a legit follow through day, and it didn't work. Now, when you have a close below a follow through day, and you break that low of that follow through day, there's an 80 to 90% chance that the rally won't actually happen, that it won't take off. So those are kind of the rules. When you have a follow through day, you buy something, you nibble in there. Like I mentioned to you guys, nibble on something. And if it doesn't work, it's just a small something where your loss is small. Or you might even have picked a good stock and that stock kind of goes flat or up a little bit and you still kind of get stopped out, but no harm, no foul, like I mentioned. So no harm, no foul, you're fine. You avoid all this from here to here the last few days. So if you have rules in place, you adhere to the rules. So once we broke below the follow through day, the uptrend was under pressure. This was pretty much a done deal. Like there is no more, rally. So you don't buy anything new to begin with. And two, you let your stops work. And if you get stopped out, you got stopped out. And you have a small, you had a small stake because you started at nibbling in the follow through day and it didn't work and you got stopped out. And then you avoid all this. Okay, you never know how low things are gonna go. I mean, look at this. So this little shelf right here was beautiful, right? We're staying above the 21. We were hoping for a little rally. Okay, we broke it. Okay, well maybe a 1 day thing. We're gonna bounce back afterwards, and boom, you had like almost a 500 point, 700 point drop. So don't try to be a hero. Don't try to anticipate a bounce. Don't try to everything's low. Let me get in here where the price is cheap. That's not trading. That's gambling. And then please don't be a gambler. Be a trader. In other words, wait for confirmation. Wait for this going up, and then you buy here. So and then when you put a stake in the ground and you say, okay, I'm gonna buy something because of the follow today, then you have a line in the sand. And then if it breaks this, I'm out. And then that's it. Simple as that. If you have rules in place, just adhere to them. And don't try to, circumvent, oh, this time is different. This time is never different. It's always the same. Okay? Things in the market, it's been the same thing for the last, 100 years. Cup of handles today, 1929, and, whatever. So it's always the same thing. So just keep the rules in place. Let's look at the cues here. All my lines here. So basically, we're back below the 21. So no man's land. We're not buying anything. Okay, below the 21, you just don't put any chips on the table because there's no trend here. You got to be above. The market's a little bit selling off a little bit. Futures in this morning. I was hoping for at least a Friday little rally, but it is what it is. We're below a falling 50. We're below a falling 21. Let me clean this up a little bit and go back to the index. I don't have all those lines. I mean, since back here in November when we had the high, if you draw this trend line here from these highs here, you never even got above this trend line. So, and if you draw from this one, you haven't even gone above this one. And if you draw from this one, I mean, look how steep you, well, that's really as far as you can go because you got to catch these guys. So like guys, I mean, this is just downward pressure, a falling 200. I mean, a really, really fast declining 50. I mean, look at this last few weeks. It's just been steadily downhill. Even the 21, it kind of flattened out a little bit, but then that quickly got just completely obliterated, and then we just went down. And then we rallied above it for that follow through day, and then just back down again. As you can see, I'm trying to reiterate here, we are in a very brutal bear market. So it's just time to step aside, let things develop, wait for at least at minimum for us to get above the 21 to start looking at potential setups. And then, the 50 is kind of right there. We might have a 21-50 crossover sometime in the near future because this keeps falling, and the 21 is a little bit faster moving. Obviously, it's less days to calculate. You might have a little rally here, kind of flatten out. These guys meet here, and then we might have a 21 crossover, and then maybe we have a little back rally over here, and then we settle in. I don't know, but nothing's going on. Okay, nothing's going on. I'm sending you my scan list. This is kind of the weekend video. I'm sending you the list of stocks. There's 84 stocks that my scans picked up. 84. When I normally, pick up anywhere between 200 and 300. So this tells you there's nothing working. That's why I run scans every day, because it kind of gives me also a feel of, besides physically looking at this, going this way, if stocks are setting up and things are kind of still looking this way, and I'm getting like 300, 400 stocks, and I'm looking at my scans and I'm getting like 20, 25 potential setups, hey, this could be the beginning of a turnaround because things are setting up. Things are beginning to but that is far from the case. I got 84 stocks on my scans, and I went through them, all of them, and I literally found maybe like one or two, and then it's just like nothing to write home about, utility stocks or something where like it's that, it's just you don't want to do anything with that. So this is what I want to do in this video, besides just going over the market and just kind of let you know what I've been telling you for the last 2 months. This market sucks. Okay, you could tell. Anybody could tell. Just don't try to step in front of it. Don't step in front of this, because you step in front of this, you're gonna get killed. You step in front of this, you're gonna get killed. So even the rallies up, if you notice, they've been lower highs. Everything's been lower highs. Even from this March, nice little rally we had here, it's been downhill. Every little rally has been even lower. We start stepping down. Even this one over here, we just got barely over the 21. We couldn't even stay above it for one extra day. At least here we had a little, let me clean this up. We had a little shelf build up here, but even here, just for one day, boom, back down again. So let alone get above the 50. I mean, geez, we haven't been above the 50 since March. So it's been a while. It's been a minute. So let's try to get above. Like here, we had a little 21. The 21 crossover on the way down, and then it's been just downhill ever since. Let's maybe wait for a 21 crossover on the top side like it did here, and then see if this time it actually holds, and then we don't just gap down again. There's a lot of gaps also here. Just the market it's really trying to spit everybody out. We haven't hit capitulation yet. There's a lot more selling that could happen. There's a lot more selling. This isn't. I don't think this is the low. We might even come back a little bit and then just fall apart again. Just again, don't try to step into this. So this is what I'm going to do in this video. It's going to be a little bit extra longer because again we have more time this weekend. I want you guys to really study the charts. I want to go through my system. I'm actually going to go through the 84 stocks that my scan picked up, so you can kind of see. What I'm looking for, and you can have an idea of what to expect when you go through your scans on your eyesight, what you're looking for. I went through this. It literally took me like 7 minutes because I can go through them really, really quick and know what I'm spotting. So it might take a little bit longer. So I want to maybe hit some points along the way as I'm going through them, but just to have an idea of like kind of like what you should be doing every, if not every day, at least twice a week, 3 times a week. Go through the scans and go through your charting software and see what's setting up. Another thing else I want to do. I'm sorry. Before I go through these stocks and then we end the video once we finish the scan list. I want to go really, really quick to the setups I gave you last week, just for educational purposes, so you can kind of see what my setups were, and then you can see how this market either it didn't work. So when you take a setup and you take a trade and it doesn't work, your stop out should be so minimal that it's like a non issue kind of loss, less than 1% kind of thing. And if they work, you kind of take some profits along the way. I'm going to go through them really quick. I don't want to digress too much in this, but I want to kind of show you the ones that I gave you. How have they done? How have they done? So I mentioned this on PBT. I had this trend line. It never really took it. Never really went above it. So like this is a non-entry. You didn't do anything with this. So like no harm, no foul. It's holding the 50 pretty well. So, but it's still. I'm not buying when it's going down to the 50. I'm buying when it's coming off the 50 and clearing some kind of level of resistance and on the way up. So this one was like, nothing happened here. CLR, when I gave you, see the trend line, you're going to see the black or red trend lines. That means, red trend line it hit it. It kind of actually took the trend line and it went above it and then it quickly violated it. So in this particular case, I probably wouldn't have taken it because of the market and the volume. But let's say you did take it. Well, you take it, it falls below a 21, you get out, you lost 0.5%. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You take your shots, but you have very minimal stops. So you have a 0.5% loss here to a potential of 10-12% gain on the upside. So again, this one, the market, just the weight of the market just brings all these stocks down, even if they want to. Just real quick, these are the ones that I gave you last week. Here, trend line broke. It got above it a little bit, and the very next day got below 21. That's it. You're done. Like, it's very minimal. PPC. This one didn't. This one actually. I went through all these already. This one I reactivated it because I like this little base that's setting up, and it kind of came back to it, and 21 is holding. But let's say you were taking it here, that one day you had a nice gain. The very next day, it kind of went down, but see where it went down to? It never really violated the 21. Yesterday, it kind of went inside the line, but it still didn't violate 21. And then Wednesday and Thursday, it went below the line, but it's still at 21. So in this particular case, if you were to take in this entry here, you're down like, again, 0.25%. You're not down anything, but the 21 is still holding. So this will still be my stop out, but it's still a nice little setup. So I generated the line to get back in it if it goes above it. MRCY. This is exactly the list I gave you last week, guys. Again, here, downtrend line. It took it this one day right there. See a little peak above it? It triggered. But then, obviously, I probably wouldn't have taken it because it was a low volume. And it quickly reversed inside of it. So, it was a kind of like a little, picking its head up, a little false trigger. Hit the 21, it held it. And then yesterday, it had a nice update. So it's back above it again. So this is kind of like, different industry here. So it's kind of working a little bit. So at 21, if you're in this, or if you want to get in this, I wouldn't get into it now. The 21 will be your friend. Again, the overall market is below the 21. So as a rule, personally, my rule is if the overall market is below the 21, I am not initiating any longs. I am not buying anything if the overall market is below the 21. That's just a rule that I have, and it has served me well. Personally. MGPI. And then once it gets above it, I start nibbling. Just like I did that follow through day. I started nibbling. The market reversed. I got stopped out. Minimal losses. Moving on. That's trading. This one, I gave you guys MGPI. It triggered right there yesterday. So that one worked. 100 play. Remember? That's what we're talking about. So let's see if it follows through. But this will be one that if you would have taken it yesterday, well, where's your stop? Personally, I have a crossover here. See a little mini crossover here, the 21 getting above the 50. So personally, I still have the 21 as my line in the sand to stop out. MYI. MYI right here. It triggered this one day here earlier in the week, and then just quickly just got down again. So again, this would have been a trigger. I told you guys in this one. I like it because it's kind of like on the 21 on the 50. They're both kind of right there. So this is an easy little thing. So personally, if I would have taken this trigger, my stop would have been below that low of that day. So the very next day, I'm stopped out. That's it. I probably would have got stopped out. Let's say at 22.50. I had a 35-cent loss. Let's say I would have taken 200 shares. I lost $70. Again, I lost $70 to potentially make about 400. So that's the risk reward. SQM. SQM. Here I had this little trend line here. Basically, this is kind of what I was looking for. Above the 21, this little breakout. It kind of picked its head of it and just completely just vomited all the way down. So you get stopped out. You get stopped out, and you don't wait to ask questions. There's a rule. It breaks the 20. It breaks below my line in the sand. If the 21 is near it, and that's kind of like what I'm drawing as my support to go up with. And if it breaks that, I'm out. So I would have been out somewhere right here, and it would have been a minimal loss. EXLS. But as you can tell, the market is just so heavy, the overall market, that things are just kind of like not working, not sustaining. This nice little this was beautiful. This is a great a breakout here, and the next day just vomited all the way down underneath it. But if you could tell here, it's holding the 21. It's holding it. So that's kind of if you would have said you would have taken it here, that's a personal thing. If you want to let's say have this as your line in the sand, and then or have the 21 as a line in the sand. Me personally, if I would have taken this, I probably would have had the 21 since I see it rising. The 21 is my line in the sand. And then, I still would have been in it. Again, this day right here would have been brutal to stick with this. But again, instead of buying, let's say, 100 shares, I might buy 25 shares and then give it a little wiggle room. So, a 2%, a 2-point move on 100 shares is the same thing as a 8-point move on 25 shares. So you can give it more wiggle, and your monetary loss is the same. And you give your stock a little more wiggle room since it is so volatile, but you kind of hold the 21 as your line in the sand here on this little cup of handle. IMXI. Again, I had this little trend line here, that one day wonder. It kind of picked its head above it, and it completely just the market. Obviously, the market's been down big time, 200, 300 point days. So everything gets taken down with it. But listen, look, it held the 50 nicely. You got a rising 21. So let's say you would have taken it. What's your stop? My stop would definitely have been 1978, around there below 20. So if you would have taken this, you still would have been in it. Holding the 50 as your line in the sand. AVT. Again, right here, this little one day, got over 21. It was trying to get above the 50. It never did. This was a bust. I definitely would not have taken this one because again, the volume was low on that breakout day. So that wouldn't have. Again, when you have a breakout and you take it above the line or the trend line you're trying to buy from, look for volume. Make sure you have volume confirmation. WPC. Again, same thing. It just kind of picked its head above it. It cleared a little base here, but the very next day, it came down and then it gapped down and then below 21 and then it's holding the 50. In this particular case, it's from 86 to probably like, I don't know, this is probably like 83. I probably would have given it like a stop out below like 80, let's say 84 or 78 kind of thing. That's probably would have been me personally because there is a little peak here that's also going to give resistance. So if it's going to come back down, it should come down and retest, but not like violate it. And once it violated it, I'm out. So let's say you would have bought it, you would have gotten at 86.50, you're out at 84 something. You lost a couple of points. Let's say you bought 100 shares and a couple $100. Not a big deal. But I probably wouldn't have taken it because again, the weight of the market. But things to look at. AMN. This is one that I really liked because it was showing a lot of promise. It came in with nice volume. I definitely would have taken this if I wasn't really fully invested. And again, it came back down again to retest. But look, the last few days, it's kind of relatively holding that area. So if this is one that, quote unquote, it's working because it took the little base breakout and then it came back to retest and now it's holding it. Now, how would I get back into this? I would get back into this with this trend line, break of yesterday's high. If it breaks yesterday's high, you could be a buyer. I wouldn't try to try to buy on the low side here. I want to see it going up before I buy. You want to see stocks going up. If you see stocks going down, and then okay, it's coming around. All right, let me get in here because I want to buy at, let's say at 135, and then your ideal point, let's say, would have been here at 138, and then it kind of hangs around and it doesn't work. Then you bought it 2 points lower, but you got stopped out. Well, I'd rather buy it 2 points higher when it's telling me there's a strength coming in and there's some little thrust to get it above any prior resistance. Got a few more of these, and then we'll go through the 84. Okay, this one again, the line is still intact. It never really broke above 200, and it just vomited all the way down, holding the 50. So again, this never triggered. You wouldn't have gotten into this one. And me personally, don't try to step in here and say, oh, I held the 50 last time. Let me get in here low in the 180s low. Let me get in for the run 200. Don't think that way. Please do not think that way. Do not think that okay, now it's low. Let me buy it at 183 and I have a stop at 179. And it's like that's gambling. Don't do that. How get into this stock? If you really want to get in, quote unquote, early. All right. Hopefully this is back live. I had to pause a little bit. My daughter came in. Okay, so what was that? Okay, yes. Don't step in here. Don't step in here because you're basically gambling. You don't want to come in here and try to pick a bottom. You want confirmation. So if you really want to get into this and say, oh, this is awesome. It's holding the 50. This is a great stock. It's it's got great numbers. So forth. Computer software. Low industry group, but you really love it for whatever reason. All right, then go to a lower time frame. Let's say a 30-minute or even the 60-minute. I'll probably use the 60-minute and say, okay, well, what is the 60-minute time? Okay, so let's say this little cup right here. Okay, so 195. So if I want to get into this, I'm gonna buy it at 195. If you really want to be a little bit more aggressive, 190. But why I wouldn't do 190? Because look at this gap right here. There's a gap. So you want this gap to get filled to the top side. You don't want to buy it at 191 and then just to come fill the gap and then head back down lower again. You want the gap to be filled. Okay, that's satisfied. And then you want this little cup at 195. So from 183 to 195, yes. I feel more comfortable buying a 195, a 195.50, let's say, than buying a 183. Because at 195.50, I have a stop at 193. Okay, it's defined. It's right there. That means it didn't work. This is my cup. Didn't work. If I buy it at 183, where's your stop? Like right here. 177. Where are you gonna put your stop? The low of the day. So you're just guessing. There's no strategy here. There's no trading. There's no nothing here that you're doing that's kind of like technically sound. You're just guessing. So don't guess. Probably 195 is probably somewhere around here. So above the 21, and then you had a 200 coming up to for resistance. So that's kind of how I would play something like this. Again, I hope this kind of makes sense, and I'm digressing on things, but I want to educate a little bit more this weekend, so you can kind of have time to study and go over this video maybe 1 or 2 times and go through the charts as I'm seeing things, I'm speaking about them, you kind of see what I'm looking at. DGII is kind of like the last one I had in here. Again, very choppy, very choppy. I had this trend line here. It hit it. It came back down to a 21 the very next day. So would I gotten stopped out? Yeah, I would have definitely gotten stopped out the day after. Once it kind of didn't close below 21, but during the day violated it. When the market down 300 points, I'm not sticking around to ask questions. I'm getting out of it. But then what happens the next day? It goes up again. So again, this gives you volatility. This gives you a lot of like movement, a little chop action. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna get chopped around in the market below a 21. You're gonna get chopped around, and then this would have been a perfect example that if you got in, you definitely got chopped around. Because I mean, look at these bars, guys. On a $22 stock, $24 stock, you go. I mean, it's like, who can sustain all this? There's no need for you to sustain this. Where you have this little tight action here. You see this little tight action here? Boom. You buy right here. This sucker kind of gave you a nice little run up this way. So these are the ones that I went. These are the ones that I went through. The ones that I also went through that kind of worked. Just real quick, I give you these guys right here. This one is still kind of doing its thing. DG go. Surprisingly, still, your entry of 40, you're still on the north side of 40. So that would have been one. I got stopped out of this, but I make good profit on it. But I don't want to hold anything long term here because there is no long term in this market. It's everything's just falling down. FCN is one other one that kind of like broke out. It kind of came back to retest. It never really validated 21, and then you have some nice moves. So these are ones that I gave you that I kind of like did their thing. I took some of these BMI. I took profits on this. Actually, I took a little bit lower here. This is my entry. Once it came back to retest, I got out of it. It's holding the 21, holding the 50. LW right here, breakout, holding above 70. This is working. So again, it's the same concept, right? You have a base, you have a trend line break, it takes it does it with volume, you get in it, and then when do you get out? Below the line. Simple as that. This reversed all the way back. So obviously, I probably would, if I would have taken this, I probably would have kind of stopped out on this day right here. You still would have been a little bit of money. Again, you would have avoided all this crap. Vivo. Again, these are, if you go back to the weekend video last week, I went through all these exact same stocks, and I wanted to go over them again in real life here, so you can kind of see, once you have a setup, and then real life happens. If they break, if they don't break, if they get above the line, what do you do? What's your thought process? I'm going through all that right now, this long weekend video, so you can kind of have more time. I know it's a little bit longer than normal, but I'm doing it on purpose, so you can kind of give it more time, a more thought process, and more focus, attention to the charts and the patterns, so you can kind of see what to look for going forward. This is like, these are giving you pearls here. I'm giving you pearls. So breakout, kind of holding above it, north of 30. It's working. SOBO, I think is the ticker. Boom, right here. 16 would have been now the new re-entry. This took it right here. It came back inside of it. I probably would have had a 21 since it's a low dollar stock. I probably would have had the 21 as my line in the sand. I never took this, but again, it's not misbehaving. At least you can look at it that way. And NNST is the one that I did take. I did take a little bit of profit on this above 91. Once it kind of came back inside 91 something, a minimal kind of stopped out. But holding the 21. When stocks hold the 21, you kind of stick with them. Again, I wouldn't get into it now, even though let's say it's up for today. I wouldn't get into it now. Again, the way of the market, I wouldn't get into anything right now. And again, my rule: overall market below 21, I'm not buying anything. It could be the most beautiful, perfect base breakout, high volume, and it takes off. I am not getting in. Why? Because the overall market is below a 21. That's just something I don't do. Here, you nibble and you get stopped out. That's it. Minimal loss. You avoid the risk. Okay. Always minimize risk. The market just opened. It's 9:30 in the morning. But again, I want to go through real quick. I know again a little bit longer video than normal, but I want to go through real quick. I'm going to try to be as fast as possible through these 84 stocks. So this is exactly the same list I'm giving you guys. Okay. So I'm going to go through real quick. Again, this one, BBT. I have my trend line here. It's holding, and nothing to see here. Not doing anything. Next, this one, holding the 50. I want this to break out. Next, I don't see anything here. I don't like this. Nothing's going on here. Next little base forming, holding the 50. I want this to be retaken out, so I'm going to reiterate the line right here. So once this line breaks, I want to get an alert, and I'll take a look at it. I don't want to buy down here. I want to buy it once it clears this little base here. Next one. This one is kind of setting up real nice here. This little pattern. I'm going to put a new trend line right here. When that breaks out, again, holding the 21. This is overall pretty good stock. That I took some profits on this earlier. But these little bases, see, broke out, you take it. These little bases broke out, you take it. Over here, you take it. So I want this to kind of resolve itself to the top side. Keep going. CLR, nothing's going on here. This kind of is spacing out. I don't really. Let me reactivate it. Maybe if the market gets above it's up this morning. The market gets above the 21. I might take a little dabble on this one. Okay, keep going. I don't see anything here. Just going down. I'm not interested. I want this to kind of come around, and then for a little handle, then take off. Okay. Here, the base. I want this base to clear. Nothing's coming out. Next. That's what I'm looking for. Here, little base, line, nothing. Move on. Nothing. There's nothing going on here. Maybe a little base here, but it's too low a base. I want this to be higher. I want this to clear. Next. Nothing here. Maybe 121. This little base came down. This little base came down. So nothing. I don't see anything here that kind of like interests me. This little base is kind of forming here, just like back here. You took it. You take off. So it's kind of resolving itself. Once it breaks out, I don't want to buy it here. I want to buy it at 72. I don't want to buy it at 68. I got MCK. Again, this little base here. See this little handle? This little cup. Now it's forming a little handle. I like that. So let it go sideways for a little bit, and then once it gets above this little handle, then I'm gonna buy it. PPC, same thing. So I like this little handle here. There's a low cheat entry right here. If you were taking it, the 21 is holding. This would have been pretty good. This one right here, it's kind of building its base. I want this to continue. I want symmetry. I want this to get back over here, go sideways for a little bit, then take off. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for an up move, consolidation, test, go sideways, and then go up. That's what you want. You might want to do a little cheat entry here, but knowingly that you might be able to you might go sideways for a while before it really takes off. Okay, next one. This would have been a beautiful entry, right, guys? I mean, look at this. Look at this tiny little base. Boom, boom. Then once it takes off, boom. So again, this is extended. There's too much air here. So I want to let it get back to a 21. Let me redraw this. This to me is perfect setup for it to get back to a 21, hold it, come back around, and then somewhere here, it's my entry. But somewhere here, once it's coming back up through it, not going down to it, and then I'm a buyer here, hoping for the bounce. Don't hope. Wait till you see it, then you take off. So nothing to do with this one, okay? Next one, DQ. Nothing's going on here. This little cup here would have been nice, but it's kind of like not forming another little handle. So, you got this guy's over here. This would have been the entry somewhere around here. Nothing's going on. I'm not seeing anything that I want to get into this. Again, this is kind of going back and forth sideways. Nothing to do here. JKS. I put this little trend line here because I like this little base action here. It's kind of down today, this morning. Back to a 21 hopefully, but that's perfectly fine. I want this to kind of go down a little bit, give me the handle, come back around, and take off. So this will be the entry above 69 or around there. Lily, same thing. This would have been a nice little entry. It's kind of forming a nice little base here. I like that. But again, to extend it, I want the 21 to be a little bit closer, a little tighter entry. AZN, same thing. It's kind of, going around a little bit. Just came back in, came back down, and came back in again, but it needs to clear. You see how now it's down again? So you want to see this little prior resistances get cleared. J&J, just too much chop fest here. Move on. RTX, everything's below the 50. Just kind of like it's gonna downtrend here. I want this little base here to get cleared up, 96, 97. Maybe I gotta play at 100, but again, nothing to do with this right now. This one right here, and MRCY. Again, this little base would have been, it's nice here, this little action here. That would have been a nice little entry, but it never did. So you never took it. So now you want this base to kind of form around, get back to here, and then take off. You're a buyer. 100% I'm a buyer at this point. NOC, nothing's going on. Chop fest, sideways. There's no symmetry. There's no base. Nothing going on here. This is what I'm looking for. You see, guys? Little base, little cup, sideways action, little cup here, little sideways action, and then once it breaks it, take off. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. Here. Came back up, reversed back down. Nice little consolidation, little sideways action here. Once it takes off. Here, sideways action, it never took it. Give me a little cup here. See the little handle right here? Boom. Gives you the cup, gives you a little handle. See how it's kind of back in the same level here? Takes off, boom. From 372 to 408. That's what you're looking for. This is what you're looking for, okay? I don't see it here, so I'll move on. Again, it took me what, like 30 seconds to explain? I'm looking at it in 3 seconds and I'm moving on. Nothing to see here. This could be forming a little handle here, but again, I want 91, 55, Actually, let me just put it here, right? Put the alert. So that's what I want. I want this to kind of be broken out here. So this little base here, little handle, and then play at 100. Okay, FCN, nothing to do here. It kind of already worked. You can see the little base here. It took it. It came back to retest it. It never really violated it. 21 is still there, and it's still up. This would have been a nice play. Okay, but now it's still extended. You don't want to buy it here. The entry was here. This is extended. Nothing to do here below the 50. I'm not interested. Hershey, below the 50, holding the 21, but it's kind of like not really doing anything. This would have been a little early cheat entry. The entry will be right here, somewhere around here. Not interested. Again, nothing to do here. Maybe over here somewhere around 156, 157. This would be kind of like what I want to get into. Let me get myself alerted here. I'm probably going to be a buyer if the market is above the 21. I'm a buyer at 157 here. Let it form a little base here. See the little handle, little base here. Boom, 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 boom. Little handle, and then take off. Again, BMI, that's in my scans. 21, I'm not doing anything with this. Merck kind of came back down again. I'm not doing anything with this. I want this handle to be resolved before I buy anything. Nothing to do here. Just to, the base is forming, but I want the base to kind of clear. Pfizer, nothing. Maybe this little base right here. But again, I stole no man's land. I'm not interested. Okay, here, nice little base here. I like this. Okay, see it's come around, came back down again, and it's coming back around. So it's forming a nice little tight little handle. I like this little break at 155. That might be an entry, but I gotta see it. Okay, it's down today, so let it do itself. Let it do its thing. Let it kind of wander a little bit sideways, and then you're an entry. So I'm a buyer here at 155, 50 around there. On a good market above the 21. If the market is below the 21 and that breaks out, I am not a buyer. This is kind of just choppy back and forth. Nothing's going on here. DG, same thing. The entry would have been right here. Nothing's going on here. Now 250 is kind of like, if you notice here, 250, 250. So above 250 is kind of like what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, 7 points away. I'm not buying it here at the 21 at 240. I'm giving away 10 points. Yes, I am, because giving away 10 points, this could go even lower. But at 251, I know I'm a stop out at 248. It gives me a line in the sand that I know I could trust, because It was here before, and then once it breaks it, it should continue. And if it doesn't, I got a 2-point stop loss. Where here, I have no idea where this can go. This can go back to the 200 and still be okay. I'm gonna buy it here. I'm gonna buy it here. Okay, go. Go is still on my scans. It's working. You know, this could be a nice little consolidation. Let it go sideways for a little bit, and then if it takes off. So I'm gonna do a little trend line here to kind of give me an alert if this kind of sets up again. You know, this kind of would have been the entry, but it would have given you a false entry here, and it's come back down again. So again, the weight of the market is kind of keeping everything down. Again, that's what I would have drawn right here. I'm waiting for this to happen. So again, I'm not a buyer right now. Moving on. See, this is really quick, guys. Right here, this will be the entry. This will be the entry above this little baseline right here. See what I'm looking? I'm looking at the same thing, guys. I'm looking for one thing. I'm looking for one pattern. I'm looking for a nice consolidation, a little symmetry to get back above it, and then once it does, little sideways action, and then boom, you're a buyer. That's it. It works over and over and over again, but you need to be patient to look for it. So here we go. Little symmetry. I want a little side action, and then boom. But you gotta be patient. You gotta wait for it to see it. That's why you have alerts. You have alerts. Next one. Okay. Kind of consolidating, little sideways, little, you know, kind of downward. Just doesn't do anything for me. I wouldn't do anything here. Next one. This little cup action here below the 50. So I'm not a buyer. I'm not a buyer until it gets above 500. Because again, it's below the 50. So it can consolidate, it can go sideways for a little bit and then take off. So 500 it looks like it's going to be a nice little resistance area, especially below the 50. Just chopping around next. I mean, that's like less than a second. Well, this one looks interesting here, right? You kind of see it. You guys see it? Where, you know, this 48 to 80, you know, 49 would be kind of like my entry. So I'll be a buyer again if the market is above the 21. I'm a buyer at you know, at 49 here. It's holding the 50, holding the 21. If I'm a buyer at 41, if I'm a buyer at 49, I'm in the 21. Be my stop out. Okay. GIS. Kind of, you know, this would have been the kind of breakout 74. So, you know, you would have been in it. You see what I mean, guys? Little symmetry here. You came back to it, didn't work. Okay, so you wait for it to come back around, and then boom. LW right here. I had this line here. Boom. That's above it. That worked. That worked. You know. But again, let me go back to it. I'm not a buyer now. This already this is above my level. Now it's kind of holding. It's probably, I mean, it's okay to buy with, I would say, within 3%. I liked about 2.5% max, but let's say 3%. It's okay to buy up to 3% from the breakout. So this is still within a buyable range from the breakout. It is not extended. I would not consider this right here today. I would not consider it extended. I would consider this still a viable buy option on this breakout. Okay? So with that being said, now, where is the market? The market is below the 21. So what is that rule? The rule trumps everything else. I am not buying anything with the market below the 21. But with the trending market above the 21 and we're looking higher, this today, it's a buy. It's a buy. 100%. Why? Because it's above this little pivot. The symmetry kind of worked itself out. It's above it, and it's still, and now it's forming a little high tight handle within 3% of the pivot. So definitely 100%, I'm a buyer. But again, the market gives me a credence as far as what I do with anything else. This is chopping around, so you know this will be kind of like my entry. I want this little thing to follow itself. Maybe, you know, again, see the little handle here? It's forming a nice little handle. Let it work. Let it form a few more days. And then if you have a breakout with a good market, you take it. Okay, nothing's happening here. It's going sideways. I like to see this, then go sideways. This is kind of been going sideways, just sideways, sideways, sideways. I'm not doing anything here. Nothing here. You know, everything is down. And just I don't like the way this looks. Next, Monster. We talked about this. I'm gonna buy it here. Just next. Um, nice little cup here. Maybe a little handle here. So maybe a little entry here. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. IBM. Maybe right here. That's what I'm looking at. See this little cup here? Little handle, right? Let it resolve itself. Nice little base here. Okay. Right here. You see how it kind of like based out and then boom, right went to it. Nice retest to 21. Nice. Okay. 22.18. If you want a low cheat entry, 22.21, 22.23 on the way back up again, or maybe even here, you know, 22 and a half or something like that. Okay, but I'm not interested in this market environment. KBR just going down, and to do here, and then I want this to kind of, you know, this is a dull bottom, almost, not technically. So I want this to kind of like form, you know, this little base to kind of like come around, and then, you know, clear skies. Nothing to do here. See, see automatically boom, I want to put it. I already had it. So again, I want this to. Oh, here we go. PPC cross about. I'm gonna go through these. I got an alert on one of those. Okay, so here. Oh, this is nice. See the cup here. The cup here, and then a sideways action. Very nice. Right here. I'm a buyer right there. Again, with a good market, I'm a buyer right there. So for my trend line, if it alerts me, I'm all over it. Where's my stop? Below the this little channel, which coincides with the 21. So 21 is my stop. It's very simple, guys. That's what you look for. Again, I'm taking a little bit longer to go through these 84 stocks because I'm kind of talking my way through it for you guys. But I would have gone through this. Like I said, I went through them already in like 7 minutes. This little gap up here, I don't care for it. Not interested. This would have this little breakout right here. That would have been nice, but again, it already happened. So moving on. Right here, this little breakout here, double bottom. Now again, not technically. This is lower than this one. So again, not a double bottom. Actually, it probably is. This looks to be lower. It is a double bottom. Let me rephrase that. This is a double bottom pattern. So what do? 165.75. 165.75 is your entry on a double bottom technical pattern. So you gotta get above the pivot here. So put an alert here. So let it resolve itself. The 21 is lower, it's above the 50. So if it breaks above this, it will be above the 50. So it might, you know, this will be like a low cheat entry. The entry really would be 180, but you might want to play this to 180 and take profits at 180, knowing that there could be resistance at 180 and push it back down again. So that's kind of how we play that. Again, we're almost there. This one right here, you know, maybe somewhere about 40, definitely somewhere about 40, 35, 40, 50 around there. So, but again, it's coming from a bottom place. It's gone up a lot since here, so it might be losing thrust. I'm pretty sure 40 is going to be a resistance level. Here we go. How many? This one in here, right here. That's my entry. About 54, somewhere around there. It'll alert me. I'll take a look at it. See the little right here, little confirmation, little handle, let it form. Okay, right here, little confirmation, little handle, let it break out. Let me put this a little bit higher because I want this day to be taken out. So there you go. Little. This will be kind of like an early entry right here. Again, this right here, kind of coming around. But again, nice little base above the 50. Yeah, I'll be a buy here on a good market. Here, just too loose, too choppy around. I don't want anything to do with this. We talked about this one right here. It'll be my entry, 155. Chef, kind of see it worked. This worked. You know, kind of coming back down again. But again, too extended from the 21. The 39.03 here, so maybe like a little entry above 39. This one right here, this right here worked this day, and it came back to retest. So I want this to get over it again. Just kind of sideways, nothing to do here. This is a downward trend line. I want it to resolve itself. I'm getting the bottom of the barrel on my scan. So industry groups wise, I rank by industry group first. Okay, if you notice, industry group first. Okay, so I'm getting to the bottom here. Over here, yeah, it's a low base. You know, I want this to kind of be taken out. Maybe a little cheat entry above 200. That's just nothing to do here. There's just nothing. Moving on. H&R Block, my competitor, tax-wise. Again, nice little cup here, right? Let me clean this up. Nice little cup here. Now I want to handle to form. Then maybe for next year's tax season. Nothing to do here. Just low base. Moving on. Oh, this is a company CEO company takeover. This is a non-issue. Just move on. Again, took it. You know, the breakout worked, and it kind of came all the way back to retest. So now, perfect example here. It broke out from this little base here, right? This little handle, boom, boom, little pattern. It broke out. You took it. It came all the way back down to retest. Okay, so let's say you didn't take it. It came back to retest. If you notice, it kind of held it right there. Now today it's going higher. So what is this telling you? This is confirmation. This is confirmation. It went down and it's bouncing. Today is bouncing off this. So I'm a buyer here with a stop right below. Again, if the market would be above 21, I'm a buyer on this bounce. This is a perfect pattern here. What I'm telling you guys, you see confirmation that it's going back up again. You don't want to buy when it's going down. You want to buy when it stops going down and then it comes back up again. Today I'm a buyer, 100%. Today I'm a buyer, 100%. If the market is cooperating, which is not. I'm not buying anything today. Here we go. This little base here kind of broke out, but it kind of fell back down again. Nothing to do here. Moving on. AMN, we went through this already. You know, nothing to do here. Just going sideways. Let it do its thing. This has been going sideways for a long time. It's kind of chopping around. Nothing to do here. Vivo, kind of, this kind of worked, but again, extended from the 21. I wouldn't do anything with this. Plab just, poof, took off and kind of gave it all back to the 50. So if you really want to be a buyer, somewhere around 20, 31, 32, 33, that's when I'm a buyer. Lilly, nice little, I took this at 32. So I have a little bit of, not Lilly, sorry, LI. This little breakout kind of with Tesla. It's working really good, 21 crossover. So I was a buyer here and kind of I'm holding it. I'm up about, 8-9%. Where's my stop? 21. I'm just kind of letting it ride from 21. I'll probably, well, even if I stop it here, this is still going to be a 21 kind of reach. Again, I'm not a buyer today. I'm not a buyer of anything today. Last one, AZPN. So again, down a little bit. So this is what I'm saying about confirmation. If you wanna bottom feed, you bottom feed when you have confirmation that's going back up again. But I personally would not, even this little bounce up to 50, I wouldn't be a buyer because you still have a 21. So you're gonna what? You're gonna play a 3-point move for like a 2-point stop. There's no risk reward there. So I want 200 to still be taken out before I get anything involved with this. Okay. So there you go, guys. I went through the 84 stocks. Okay, I know it took longer than I probably would have, but I wanted to show you that if I would have been 300 stocks, I would have been the same process. But obviously, I would have gone a lot faster because I would have been talking about it. I just go through all my scans. I'm looking for. You saw what I'm looking for, so I don't want to digress. So a little bit longer video than normal, but it was on purpose. I wanted to give you a little bit more length, a little more insight of what I look for. I wanted to give you a little bit more kind of like come back and revisit the ones I gave you last week to kind of see where they're at this point, and then what you would have done in real life, how they handle the market right now seems to be up, so the end of let me see here, this is not get the cues going, sorry, this is live right now. Yeah, we're a little bit up right now, so this kind of seems to be playing out with where the end of the week quote unquote rally is happening. Maybe it took all the way to Friday again, but this isn't a rally that I'm gonna buy, guys. Okay, we still below 21, but at least whatever you have, you know what, this is pretty good right here. I like this little trend. See this little higher lows. I like that. So I'm gonna give myself a little. Let me see if I can draw this a little better. Oh, it's not taking. Let me touch it. Oh. Well, I would draw this trend line here to kind of give me, okay, let's see if we continue riding this higher, and if we fall back over again, just we're dead in the water here. Again, falling 21. I'm not a buyer of anything today. Below 21, I am not a buyer. But we might have a little rally to the end of the week, to the end of the day for the long weekend. Again, not because there's new buying coming in, it's because the sellers have gone away. Okay? So this isn't a rally that I'm buying. But I wanted to go through everything that I went through. I want to show you, I want you to educate you on what I'm looking for, what patterns to be looking for, how to think when you have a breakout, when it fails, and so forth, and when not to buy extended and so forth. So go through this, study it, pause the video, look at the chart, do the work, okay, guys? Put the work in. Read this weekend. I mentioned some books in the email. Get yourself ready. This rally, I mean, this market will eventually turn around. Will it be in the next 3 or 4 months? I don't know. It could be even next year. It could be in October, November, December, the fourth quarter of the year when we start seeing turnaround. But you want to be ready. You want to be ready for when that happens. Okay. So please put the work in, study, and be a trader, not a gambler.